beach, and you kind of trial and error to figure out what works to help a group of people play as the best team possible, especially when the stakes are higher.
Talk about one of those four. First one that comes to mind, and go into a little detail about it.
Well, certainly one of my competitive advantages was figuring out ways to help those around me be better. I guess another way of saying it is that when somebody does a nice job of making teammates better, everybody plays better when that person steps on the court. That was one of my goals, is to try to help people play better when I was their teammate. And that helped me through some tough times too, because often things aren't going exactly as any of us would like. It was very rare that I had all the parts of my game going exactly the way I wanted it to. Often finding success meant adapting, adjusting, compensating for whatever wasn't working that day. Like a pitcher in baseball who might not have his fastball that day, he's got to figure out other ways to get hitters out and keep the runs to a minimum and help his team out. So there were lots of ways that I could help teammates be better, and that was a big objective of mine, and it helped me keep my mind off sometimes my own struggles, as all of us have struggles and want to play the perfect game and fall short every time.
So helping those around you play better, even when you're not playing the best in every phase of your game. That's what Karch says is his one of his biggest skills is to find a way to get the best out of those that are on the court with him. Boy, that is great advice. That could never be considered bad advice from anybody. And coming from arguably the greatest player that's ever played, beach and indoor, combination of those two, saying that even he very, very rarely was on top of all aspects of his game at any given time. And is quite humbling. And I know I get frustrated on the court sometimes, think I'm not doing something right, that it's the end of the world, but really, you know what? There's always something I could be doing better. So great attitude by Karch, saying, you know what, it's not a big deal if I'm not passing the ball perfect. I'll encourage my teammates, try to bring out the best of them, and focus on something else maybe. Maybe I'm hitting the ball well, so that's how I'm contributing right now. Not that I'm going to give up on passing the ball, but just understand that I can't be doing all things perfect at all times. Jordan Larson-Burback will start things serving here in set 4. USA is up 2-1. Big swing to start off by Arisa Shinabe. Sauri or Saali. Sort of I got a tweet here from a Twitter user in Japan. I'll get to that in a second. Big swing from Nicole Fawcett, who's back in there on the right side. First kill of the set for the USA. This tweets from Inoue Kiyoharu. Says, hello from Japan. I watched the game by internet. Thanks, Inoue. Says the pronunciation's S-A-O-R-I. That's Saori Kimura is Saoli. So it's almost like an L sound. Oh, what a dig by Kirsty Jackson. Paolini, another tip. Peo is dug this time. Diving dig for Kirsty, and Paolini puts away the ball on the second contact. So, thanks for that tweet about the pronunciation of Sauri or Sauri. I looked it up. I also looked that up and talked to the coaches about it, and just looked it up on Google, and a lot of the stuff I found said, yeah, in Japan it is more proper to say it with the L sound, Sauli. Oh, Kirsty Jackson. What a dig. Great set to Fawcett, but she is dug. Right back at you, says the Gov. Kim Hill hits one out of bounds, just long a couple feet. Point Japan. So it seems a consensus I found online anyway that some Japanese speakers in the U.S. use an Americanized pronunciation, Sauri, but it is in Japan. It is Saori. So thank you for that, Inoue. That is good information. That's going to be point Japan on a back row attack violation. That's because the setter, Jenna Hagland, is in the back row, and she jumped up and contacted the ball above the net. It went over the net. You can't do that if you're a back row player. 3 players in the back row, 3 players in the front row at all times. Players rotate clockwise. Kim Hill, nice pass. Paulini, another kill out of the middle. Deep cross-body swing from Peo. So far, my players of the match for the USA has got to be Peo and Nicole Fawcett. Fawcett's at the service line right now. They're both hitting at very high percentages. Again, we don't have a stats guy. I don't have the official stats tonight. But just from what I'm seeing, I am really loving the way Nicole and Peo are playing. And speaking of Nicole, there's an ace serve right on the back line for Japan. I'm going to say I love how Yukiko Ebata is playing. I love the aggressiveness that Yukiko is playing with. Also, Saori is really fun to watch, and just because I love watching her transition. She's such a smooth-looking volleyball player, and she really rips it and finds nice open spots on the court. I love watching Saori Kimura play. Good save, high set to the middle. Oh, what a dig from Zayasu. Roll shot down the line, diving stab from Jor. Kim Hill finds the open spot on the floor, and it's 5-4 USA. Kim will be the server. Good pass for Japan, as is Parr. And Yukiko Ebata puts it away. Ebata will serve at 5-5 here in set number 4. And I know you can see the crowd filling up the stands on the screen that you see, and that is how it is all the way around the gym. It is completely packed on both sides, and all the people standing on the upper concourse level above the stands, that is pretty much filled in as well. Sold out here at J. Sarah Catholic High School. And there were no tickets sold at the door. It was all sold out online well before the match started. Deep float serve, good pass for the U.S. Set to Peo. She was going a little farther outside than that set went. Nice job for her to reach in and still get some sort of a swing on it. Blocked for Japan, good cover by the U.S. Nicole Fawcett saves that one. Down the line, my goodness, Zayasu was all over the place. And then a block for the USA. Zayasu almost got to that one. I love watching these players cover. Big difference between the men's game and the women's game. You see tons more balls covered after blocks. It doesn't happen very often that a stuff block doesn't come off the ground like the one we just saw. But it feels like 75% of the time, if there's a block, it's coming right back up because they are so good. The women are so good at being in their spots to cover a block. It's really hard to get a ball to the ground. On the men's side, not that they're necessarily bad coverers, but just the positioning of the women, from what I've seen tonight, is just so phenomenal. Making that little, cup around that block. Look at those 5 women as Kirsty was hitting that. If that ball was blocked, it would have been very difficult to find a spot on the floor for the ball to go. Well, Japan reaches technical timeout number 1 here in set number 4. It's 8-6. USA won the first 2 sets. There are a few players who were on the 23-woman roster that were available to play for these 3 nights against Japan. Then a couple of them didn't get to the court at all. And that's not to say that they're not good players or there's a reason they weren't out there. Just Karch trying out different lineups, trying out different players, and he just made a bunch of players available to to decide on day of who he was going to use. A couple players that didn't make it out that are on the roster though. Elena Bergsma, opposite hitter from Chandler, Arizona. She played at LMU, Loyola Marymount University, and the University of Oregon. She was the Player of the Year, National Player of the Year at Oregon last year, 2012. And an extremely interesting thing about Elena Bergsma, she was Miss Oregon 2012. Went on to the Miss USA contest as the tallest ever person in the Miss USA contest. The 6'3", Elena Bergsma, star volleyball player at Oregon, Miss Oregon. Went on to Miss USA, won the most photogenic award. Out of the timeout, a kill from Sauli Kimura. It's 9-6. So Elena Bergsma, very good opposite hitter from the University of Oregon, and she'll be playing with the USC. We'll see if she's on that FIVB World Grand Prix squad. The World Grand Prix is the biggest annual event in international volleyball. That'll start at the beginning of August. Oh, diving dig, but nobody's going to get the second touch on that. It's a kill for Jordan Larson-Burback. The FIVB World Grand Prix is a little over a month-long tournament. It's very taxing on the teams that do it because you are in very often a different country, a different continent every week throughout pool play. And I believe the finals this year are actually in Japan at the beginning of September. The USA has won that tournament. As we see a big smash from Saudi. The USA has won that tournament 3 years in a row. They've got the gold medal. And that's coming up in August and September. Another player that we haven't seen this week, Alex Kleinman from Manhattan Beach, California, went to Stanford University, graduated in 2010. Oh, what a rip from Fawcett. Alex Kleinman, the Volleyball Magazine Player of the Year in 2010, her senior year at Stanford. Also a good sand volleyball player is Alex. Sonia Newcomb, who's on the roster tonight. I don't think we've seen her play yet this week, but she could come in tonight from Lake Arrowhead, California. She also went to the University of Oregon. Was a teammate of Elena Bergsma. 1 year. She graduated in 2009, did Sonia. Bergsma, actually she was never a teammate with Elena because Elena was at LMU in 2009. But Bergsma, Newcomb, both graduates of the University of Oregon on this women's national team. Not a good pass from the U.S. Good save by the Gov. Touch on the block, and it'll fall to the ground. Another good tool kill from Risa Shiinabe. And I think everybody else on this squad we've seen at some point during these three matches. Kristen Hildebrand not here tonight, but she had a couple of really good matches on Wednesday and last night on Friday. And Yukiko Ebata makes it 13-8. And right now it looks like we are headed for set number 5. Karch Karai will take a team timeout, down 5 here in set 4. Fans keep tweeting me at Broadcast Mark. That's Broadcast Mark with a K. I'd love to hear from you. Whatever you'd like to say. What are your thoughts on the beach volleyball game? How many of you out there play indoor volleyball and beach volleyball? I'd love to hear from you. A little bit more about myself. I grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada, and as I said earlier, moved out here to Southern California pretty much to be by the beach. And I went to Santa Monica College to play indoor volleyball. Played under head coach John Mayer, assistant coach Billy Allen, and assistant coach Yariv Lerner. And John and Billy, both professional beach volleyball players. They were at the time, they still are. And just phenomenal athletes, great players to learn from. Really fun to play under in the indoor game and also learn from on the beach. Nicole Fawcett out of the timeout. She's having a great match. So I went to Santa Monica College, figured out I wanted to get into broadcast. So I went up to Cal State Northridge, see some.